For Dean Smith, teamwork has always been the key. As has been the case for over 30 years, his Tar Heels offensively never rely on just one player, but rather an entire squad. Defensively, North Carolina has swarmed its competition. Tar Heel opponents are shooting less than 40% from the field. Les Robinson's second year in Raleigh has produced more bumps on Tobacco Road than last year, but it's been smooth sailing for his senior All-American candidate, Tom Gugliotta. The power inside comes from Kevin Thompson, who continues to be a force in the paint. Tonight, two old rivals clash again here in Raleigh as North Carolina State hosts number 10, North Carolina. Let's take a look at our low starting lineups. First for the Tar Heels, Pat Sullivan will start at a forward spot with George Lynch, Eric Montross at the center spot, and Hubert Davis and Derek Phelps in the backcourt. For North Carolina State, on the front line, Davis and Gugliotta, Thompson at the center position, Donnie Seal and Curtis Marshall are in the backcourt. Dean Smith 15 and 15 here at this facility in a strange 24 hours for Coach Smith. His wife was mugged last night basically in Chapel Hill, suffered a broken hip and spent the night in the hospital, and she'll be in there for about 10 days. Dr. Linnea Smith, and we wish her all the best. It's the second time this year Coach Smith's had to go through a tough personal loss.
Yes, it was the Florida State game, the night that his father passed away. So we certainly wish our very best to Coach Smith and his wife.
As always, the crowd is ready. Les Robinson in his second year as head man at North Carolina State. 18th season overall. 8 and 6 and 2 and 2 in the conference coming into this one. The 10th ranked Tar Heels are 13 and 2, 3 and 1. And you see it's a long-standing series that North Carolina leads 111 to 65. State's won 2 of the last 3 here, including last season on those back-to-back nights. And we're underway at Reynolds Coliseum.
Montross got the tap, but he gave it right to Thompson. Pretty good size matchup, Sullivan and Davis.
Gugliotta, he'll take a 3 to open up.
Well, George Lynch knows that Gugliotta is going to take that 3 from that kind of range, and Lynch has been playing great defense of late. He's got to get out there with a hand up in Gugliotta's face, force him to drive.
Tough man-to-man for North Carolina State. Nice pass inside, Lynch off the glass.
Of course, by going to the hole, Gugliotta has to be very careful. He can ill afford to get into early foul trouble here. They need him on the floor on the offensive end.
Here he is on the offensive end. Montross on Thompson.
Well, mismatch Marshall with Sullivan. He should have tried to stay with him. He's wide open on the side.
Thompson drives the baseline, and he's fouled by Montross.
That's a pretty good matchup as far as a physical balance there. Montross and Thompson can look each other right in the eye. Montross probably has him by, maybe an inch and a half, but the body-wise are about the same, so it should be interesting to watch him banging inside. Straight man-to-man out of bounds.
Mark Davis will inbound for North Carolina State. They have a 1-point lead.
Well, that's a dangerous pass as much as Lynch has that anticipation.
Marshall off the mark from three-point land, but Thompson gets the rebound.
Seal really clever with that ball. I saw him for the first time in action the other night on TV. He can really handle.
A lot of youth on this North Carolina State team, with the exception of Thompson and Gugliotta. Seal outside, rattles one off the iron, and Montross the rebound.
A good block out by Montross.
Phelps will take it himself. Lynch in the right spot, and the tip goes to Montross.
Basket by Montross.
Well, there's where a good offensive rebounder stays with it, as Montross did that time, as opposed to just assuming that Lynch, who's a good finisher, is going to make that shot.
All alone is Gugliotta outside.
Oh, he's a great shooter. Last year, when you consider the ACC, Barry and Monroe were the only two players in the league that had better three-point shooting than he did. And he's 6'10".
Phelps will take a three, and he answers on the other end.
Three-pointer by number 14, Derek Phelps.
North Carolina back in front by one.
Both teams playing aggressive man-to-man, but for some reason there seem to be people getting open on the perimeter.
Gugliotta will take another one. His first miss, and Montross' second rebound.
Marshall's going to have to pick Phelps up earlier on that dribble. Phelps is getting way inside. There he is again, getting way inside to start the offense.
Let's see if State takes one from inside the three-point arc. They haven't yet.
Nice play.
They still haven't attempted anything but threes. We told you they like to shoot them, and the fans love those threes too.
Well, Davis that's 21 for 47 on the year, so it's not like he can't step out there and take it.
Davis, first time he handles it, and he's fouled. We'll call it on Donnie Seal.
Well, Seal committed the foul. Davis came over with good help, and if Seal hadn't come down with that chop for the block, it would have been a good defensive play, but a good play by Davis. I think North Carolina right now, Brad, is getting an opportunity to set up right inside the three-point arc, and that's much too close to the inside to allow a team to start their offense. State's going to have to push them out a little bit.
Seal would love to have that foul back, because I don't think Davis had a prayer on that shot anyway. Jen Bacali in for North Carolina State as they go to their bench for the first time. Davis, one of the best free throw shooters in the conference. 84% coming in. Les
Robinson may think he needs another three-point shooter out there. Bring in Bacali, who, of course, was right on target last year from the three-point range. Hasn't shot quite as well this year, but certainly does have that perimeter ability.
Billy, I don't know if we've ever done a game where we've gone 4 minutes without a two-point field goal attempt by a team, but that's about to happen depending on what State does this trip down. We approach 16 minutes to go first half.
You see Lynch getting right up on Gugliotta now. Gugliotta does have the ability to go by somebody.
McCauley guarded closely by Reese.
Good backdoor cut by Seal.
Thompson, there's a two-pointer.
Good quick move. He has really improved his quickness and his footwork on the inside.
First two-pointer comes with 15:55 to go first half.
You notice where State sets up defensively inside the foul line, trying to take away some of that height that Montross creates for him, but it's given up a lot on the perimeter.
Nice position by Thompson inside Montross for that rebound. North Carolina State 11, North Carolina 9. McCauley leaned his shoulder in. They'll call a foul on Brian Reese. 15:27 to go first half. We've got a great one going so far. North Carolina State with a 2-point lead.
What's going to be an outside shot by Tom Gugliotta is the fact that Carolina tried to trap. When they tried to trap, that took Lynch off Gugliotta, who wisely moved to the corner for an open three-point shot. So sometimes you trap, you create a steal. Other times, of course, particularly if the offense is moving well, they get an opportunity for a good shot.
6 points for Gugliotta. There's the three-point shooting. And here comes another one. In and out. Rebound to Davis.
Good crashing of the boards by Gugliotta, even though he didn't get the ball.
He leads the conference in rebounds. Lynch, nice position in close, and he's fouled.
Now that's a call that I really feel should go more to the defensive player than what we see on a night-in, night-out basis. Defender has his hands straight up in the air. Offensive player creates the contact. And invariably, we see the advantage going to the offensive player.
George Lynch, junior out of Roanoke, Virginia, at the line. Hits the first. Don't forget to stay tuned at halftime for details on how you can help choose the True Value ACC Dream Team.
Well, George has had a bad streak of 3 games, hasn't he? He's 17, 11, and 5 steals against Villanova, 26 and 9 against Wake Forest, 11 for 13 shooting in that game, and 13 points, 8 rebounds, and 4 steals against Maryland in the last 3. I'd say that's pretty solid basketball.
That's a dream week.
It sure is. Dream career for a lot of players.
We're tied at 11. Gugliotta needs some help. Goes in low to Thompson.
Nice.
Collins, great lead for Thompson.
I really credit Thompson with the first smart play, and that was to throw the ball back outside when he felt all that defensive problem. Now State changes their defense.
And they almost waited too long to change it, and they end up with a steal. Marshall, short.
He's a little tight so far in this game. Had 2 starts prior to coming in, and it started to play very well, getting more time. Let's check the defense out. 2-3 zone set up. Let's see if Lynch moves it together. Just matching up out of a 2-3 zone.
You got to watch Davis for North Carolina in this setup.
You also have to watch a back screen.
Phelps can't get it. Thompson takes the carom off Wenstrom.
Thompson and Gugliotta, both very good two-handed, tough rebounders inside.
3rd rebound for Thompson on the night. And on the offensive end, he can't get the handle on that pass.
Marshall having a lot of trouble here tonight. Trying to do too much too quick. He's going to sit down for a while, watch this game a little bit.
Montross will come back in. McCullough will check in for NC State.
Here we see that good two-handed rebound by Thompson. Just comes over there. You know, if he puts one hand on the ball, maybe Wenstrom can get a piece and keep it alive. Instead, he snatched it off with 2 hands. Fine play.
Henrik Rodel is checked in for North Carolina. So is Kevin Salvadori, along with Montross now, Sullivan and Phelps. That's the 5 for the Tar Heels. And North Carolina turns it over.
Big team on the floor right now. Rodel 6'8", Sullivan 6'8", Montross 7 foot, Salvadori just about 7 foot. So a lot of size. Let's see if State spreads it out a little bit.
Gugliotta, tough shot. He's fouled.
And what Gugliotta did there, when he realized that he was surrounded by 2 shot blockers, he tried to draw the foul as opposed to worrying about making a clean shot, and that's why he's on the line. You watch him right here. He realized he's not going to get the shot that he wants, so he goes right up between the 2 and takes a tough shot, making sure there's contact.
Gugliotta, a 67% free throw shooter. You see he is leading the conference in rebounds and 2nd in scoring.
Well, remember the Diet Pepsi Classic down in Charlotte in his sophomore year. It was the first time we really saw him move forward and say, gosh, this guy has really improved as a basketball player. Certainly not to the extent that he is now, but he showed signs he was not going to be a bench sitter at NC State.
Well, he was 6'7", 205 as a freshman. Now he's 6'9", almost 6'10", and about 240, and he has really worked at it. Rodel, nice toss in low to Montross. He can't get it, and Gugliotta scrapes it off.
They're trying to beat Carolina back down the floor with this big team on the floor. Nice rebound.
And they're going to call a charge on McCullough.
Well, the young man was not afraid to take that ball inside.
Gugliotta hurried that one.
Yeah, he put it up a little bit too quickly, but a great rebound and good footwork again by Thompson. And then we see a no man's land shot.
Carolina trails by 4. Phelps for 3. Got it. That's his 2nd 3 of the night.
3 for number 14.
It's a 1-point ball game.
Well, not only is Phelps playing solid basketball, he's given Dean Smith a lot of minutes from the standpoint of his stamina. You know, they haven't had to substitute him, and yet he's required to play tough defense and handle the ball most of the time.
Sullivan picks up his first, 4th team foul on the Tar Heels.
Well, Les Robinson has to find somebody that can handle the ball. McCullough out there right now. Somebody's got to do something so that Gugliotta doesn't have to come out and handle it so much.
All the young guys look as though they're in their first North Carolina State game right now.
Well, for most of them, they are.
That's right. Thompson, tough drive. Salvadori pulls it off ahead to Phelps.
And you notice one and done because Gugliotta's on the outside.
Rodel for 3. A little hard, and Davis the rebound.
Important that Gugliotta touch the ball this time down the floor.
And Davis is fouled by Roller. But again, Davis, McCullough, Seal, Marshall, all the guys that are, for the most part, new to the NC State program look a little nervous out there, and they're kind of going wild at the basket.
Well, they really are. They've got to think a little bit, make sure they get their ace into the game on the offensive end.
A couple of aces coming in for North Carolina. Their two leaders, Lynch and Davis. At the free throw line is Mark Davis for NC State, 6'5" freshman out of Utica, New York.
And one thing that will jump out at you, because it was early on in the season when State played against Alabama, he had 18. You know, when you as a freshman can go against the Alabama's quickness and the team that I think is one of the better clubs in the SEC, come up with that kind of a production, you really have some talent. But there are a lot of young players on this floor right now.
Thompson gets a breather. Davis with a second free throw.
As you mentioned, even though Seal is a junior because of his junior college stint, this is really his first go.
Nice rebound by Gugliotta gives NC State another chance. 11:45 to go first half. North Carolina State with a 1-point lead. McCauley baseline blocked by Salvadori. 38 blocks on the year for Salvadori. 11:38 to go in the first half. The Wolfpack at home continuing to hold a 1-point lead. We'll be back after this from our friends at Budweiser. North Carolina State leads this one by 1, 15-14. There's a familiar face, former Wolfpack coach Norm Sloan. He'll be honored at halftime here.
And there you see that national championship banner. 73 undefeated, 74 national champs. A run of 57-1 during that period of time, and 24-0 against ACC teams.
3 ACC titles and 266 wins. And Gugliotta, nice drive.
And good defense on his part. Nobody coming back to help.
Salvadori. Hands got it.
He got a hand on the shot. Good job by Salvadori. Two things about that play were great. Number one, he's the man that got the ball in bounds, and look at the hustle he got down floor to be in position to receive the pass.
Fouls on Seal. That'll be his second. And the fourth team foul. Salvadori with a chance to complete a three-point play.
You know, the thing about Salvadori that also amazing, he's got 2 games where he's blocked 5 shots, and he doesn't have great stature as far as size. He doesn't have blazing quickness. He doesn't have awesome leaping ability. He just is working hard with good timing out there.
Got to be one of the most improved players in the conference. Over 7 points a game this year compared to 1.5 for an average last year, and he completes the three-point play. Kevin Thompson's coming back in for State. So is Curtis Marshall.
Let's see if Marshall picked up anything sitting over there on the bench, getting an opportunity to observe this game, settle down a little bit. He really came out tight.
We're tied for the 3rd time tonight, 17 apiece. McCauley, nice feed in to Thompson, kicks it back out to Davis for 3. And Lynch.
Well, that got a lucky bounce for North Carolina because Gugliotta was in perfect position for the follow-up.
Salvadori.
Sullivan over the back.
That's going to be the second on Pat Sullivan. Be sure to stay tuned at halftime for the Norwegian Cruise Line Trivia Contest. You could win a great cruise for 2. We're cruising along. We're under 11 minutes to go here in the first half.
But Brad, when I think about that game last year, which I saw on TV, not in person, Carolina shot 59% in the first half against State and found themselves behind because State shot 61%. We're having a lot of good shooting here tonight as well.
That was a great game. Rodney Monroe had 37 for State. Thompson off the glass, and he's becoming an offensive force. Billy, that's 6 for Thompson.
He really is. Great footwork.
Reese works the paint and puts it home. Reese's first basket ties things up at 19.
Again, you can see how close he was to the basket when he got the ball without having to use his dribble. So, 2 bounces with the ball, a good slashing move, and he's right inside for a 12-foot jump shot.
He almost got a steal on the other end.
with the big overplays, as Carolina always plays, there's going to be some room for some backdoor cuts.
Lynch on Gugliotta, who lost the handle.
Good no call by the official as well.
2-on-2. Phelps makes it 3, and now he'll slow things until Davis takes it from outside. Gugliotta the rebound.
And look at how he puts that ball on the floor to take it to the hole.
And he's fouled en route.
You know, he has an explosive first step.
He really does.
Was on that loose ball. He just took not only the loose ball, but watch this right here. Watch, as soon as he gets the ball, watch this explosive first step. He's off and running. Boy, he's impressive.
There's really nothing he can't do.
No. Well, I guess that time you could have said he should have put it up with his left hand. But who can blame him? He picked up the foul, and good hustle by Lynch on the comeback there to make the block.
Gugliotta at the free throw line. See what he's done from three-point range. About a 67% free throw shooter.
There's Brian Fagans. They say he's recovering from that very serious knee injury. Obviously will not play this year. Kind of interesting. This is the first time since 6th grade that he and Thompson haven't been playing on the same court together.
Here's Jamie Knox talking about knee injuries. He rehabbed after an injury against Clemson back in the '89 season for an entire year. He'll come in and give Gugliotta a rest.
Well-deserved. Thompson probably is going to need a blow here shortly, and Les Robinson can go ahead then and alternate with Gugliotta on him.
Across the hook doesn't go. Davis somehow got the rebound in traffic, and he's fouled. It'll be on Bacali.
He got the rebound on the lack of a block out.
Fouls on Bacali.
On Bacali.
His second and the 15th foul.
15 foul on NC State. You know, I've been talking to a number of the trainers about these knee injuries that have been so serious, and you know, maybe the reason for it is the athleticism of players today. You know, with the great size, quickness, and the amount of the height they generate on their leaping, that the knee just can't sustain the pounding that it's getting. But more and more, I mean, you're seeing 4 or 5 kids in each league coming down with very difficult knee injuries and requiring that surgery.
And Knox, the guy we're talking about, gets a rebound.
Matter of fact, the trainer for NC State will not tape Knox's ankles, because if anything goes, he wants to see the ankle go this time and not the knee.
He says it's the worst knee injury he's ever been associated with, so you got to give Knox credit for just being out there. Steal by Carolina, and Reese takes it on the other end.
Boy, some brilliant moves, first by Phelps and then by Reese. Reese with a little hesitation, a good legal dribble to get that shot up.
22-21, North Carolina. This is their first lead since early in the ballgame, over 7-6. Thompson in low and fouled before the shot. And if there's such a thing as a good foul, it's probably one, I guess, because Thompson was on his way to the hoop.
Good low post position by Thompson and an excellent pass. The reason it was such a good pass, it was thrown perfectly on the side that he needed to avoid Montross getting a hand over top. And watch this, the pass is perfectly thrown on the side. Probably a pretty good foul because Thompson had an easy layup.
So Kevin Thompson, 1-1, fouled before the shot. Second leading scorer and rebounder for the Wolfpack. Second to Gugliotta in both categories.
Young man shooting 60% from the field. Solid stats all the way across. 14, almost 15 points a game, almost 8 rebounds a game.
Came in averaging 7 points and 6 rebounds in his career against North Carolina. He's about to go over that right here. 8 for the game for Thompson.
And you can see what we anticipated. Les Robinson saying, look, I'm going to shift both of these fellas. I can't afford to wear them down. Carolina has been mixing all of their big men and letting them all get about 3-4 minutes at a clip. So he's going to alternate Gugliotta and Thompson, try to keep them fresh as we go down the wire here in the end of the first half.
And all of that with a 1-point lead for State. Reese can't get it outside. Rebound comes off to Davis.
One man from Utica, Mississippi, pretty solid player.
Gugliotta alone on the baseline.
Dean Smith says how. If anybody you're going to be aware of, it's Gugliotta. Comes right off that bench and scores.
He must have gotten a nice pick. Either that or the defense was a little lax, and you can't be lax against Gugliotta. He'll burn you. Montross, right by Gugliotta.
Stayed on the ground.
Reese in the lane.
Goaltending.
That's goaltending on Knox. Knox shows he can still get up.
That's going to score on Brian Reese.
What a great defensive series by Gugliotta against Montross, though.
It really was. He stayed on the ground, and Montross is expecting him to go for the little pump fake. He didn't do that. And there you see, this is Reese coming across on that good drive. 2 great drives in a row that young man has made.
25-24, Wolfpack. Just over 8 minutes to go as we look at the field goal shooting.
Well, you can see North Carolina at 35%, a far cry from that 61% we were talking about last year.
Gugliotta for 3, got it!
One of the things that not only Carolina, but anybody that plays NC State, when you're guarding Gugliotta, you've got to stay with him. You can't turn your back and go for rebounds. I mean, he's just too dangerous.
Reese with an air ball. Thompson, his 5th rebound, and here comes the Wolfpack up by 4.
Marshall crossed half court looking for Gugliotta.
If State scores here, this place is going to go crazy.
But that was a good catch by Thompson. You see that ball was thrown right down by his ankles. He went down and got it.
Salvadori on Gugliotta. They've mixed things up defensively on him. Nothing seemed to work yet.
Oh, nice pass.
Good thought, but Thompson can't get to it.
Thompson realized it.
Phelps. Reese got the rebound and scored it.
Now, there is a case of fatigue setting in. Neither Gugliotta nor Thompson were capable of making it down the floor. They just didn't have the energy to get there, and that's where Dean Smith's rotation of big men have really caught up with with NC State at this point. NC State's going to have to get a little lift from McCullough somehow.
Gugliotta. Oh, baby.
He is
4th 3 of the night. He's got 20. We haven't hit halftime. We're not even close to halftime. Reese.
That's a hard shot to make. When nobody guarding you, you didn't have your normal motion. And Reese, who's having a very good first half himself.
He's got 11 right now. Gugliotta. Air ball, Thompson. And they're going to call a foul on Thompson, pushing off, trying to get position to get to that ball.
Dean Smith is now congratulating the official, and what he's trying to do on that is to pretend that Thompson's been doing it all night. I wouldn't agree with that.
We'll take another look at it when we come back. 6:10 till halftime, State by 2. Tom Gugliotta, and he has been money in the bank so far, Billy, tonight. 20 points. He's got 4 3-pointers in 7 attempts.
But you can't ask him to do any more than he's done, but I think if NC State is going to continue to stay in this game, McCullough, Seal, or Marshall, one of those 3 minimum is going to have to come up with some kind of point production.
Salvadori's done a nice job off the bench.
Beautiful fadeaway half hook there.
5 for Salvadori, and we're tied at 31. Seal. Nice move around Sullivan, then runs into a double team, but got the pass to Thompson.
And nobody coming to help from the weak side. Phelps didn't get there in time. Excellent pass.
Thompson and Gugliotta have 30 of the Wolfpack's 33 points.
There's that two-handed rebound again. Les Robinson probably going to go with Thompson and Gugliotta the rest of the way now. They both just got a chance to sit down for what could have been more than a minute and a half.
A pretty good pass by Thompson, too, but Seal couldn't handle it.
Gugliotta on a steal. And a pass. Oh, yes.
Wow.
I don't want to get carried away here, but we're looking at some Larry Birdish type playing from that young man. I mean, he's doing it all. Remember that steal in the NBA playoffs? Sensational.
That was as fine a sequence as you'll ever see.
There's the steal. Now watch his heads up, play with a pass, puts the ball down, shifts it over. I guarantee you, I have not ever seen a guy improve in this league to the degree that he has to become the player we're talking about.
It's fun to have seen it happen.
Yeah, it really is.
Years.
It's just absolutely great.
Thompson at the line, and he has had a big night, and he continues to have a big night. That's 13 for Thompson. As we mentioned, beside a three-pointer by Mark Davis, Gugliotta and Thompson have done it all, and the Wolfpack leads by 5. Salvadori, nice lead for Sullivan, and he got it off Thompson's foot. The announcers for this game are selected and compensated by Raycom and Jefferson Pilot Sports. Any use of this broadcast without their express permission is prohibited. With Billy Packer, I'm Brad Nessler. Nice to have you along with us at Reynolds Coliseum tonight. We've got a beauty going. 36-31. North Carolina State just under 5 minutes to go first half. Rodel, Lynch. He's been quiet. Gugliotta blocked it.
And that was a great play by Lynch to get open.
Marshall, maybe should have taken that one.
And McCullough, Marshall, and Seal. Somebody's got to make a play.
He'll take this one instead.
Got it. That's a big breakthrough for Les Robinson, particularly to get him off the snide here in the first half.
And it's the biggest lead for the Wolfpack. They're up 8. And Carolina almost threw it away.
No, he never
said he didn't touch it.
I don't believe he did. I don't believe he did touch it. If he had, he'd have been off to the races.
Or if he had, that one would have landed in your lap.
That's right. I don't believe he got a piece of that one. See the play. Lynch throws. He thought there was a back door. We don't have the right angle for it on the camera.
Some of the folks here at press row are telling us he did get just a piece of it to change the trajectory. So give Lenny Wirtz a good call there.
Donald Williams in the game right now. Good help from the weak side.
Salvadori playing tough on offense. He's fouled inside.
Fouls on Kevin Thompson.
Thompson picks up his first.
That's the 16th foul.
7th team foul against North Carolina State.
Well, Dean Smith has already played now 10 men in this first half. So I think that he's trying to wear down NC State, which is a pretty good theory on his part, particularly when you figure Knox can only give so many minutes to Les Robinson on the inside.
Salvadori, he's got 6 points. 7-footer, 226 pounds. He's put on about 20 pounds since last year. And as we said, has gone from 1.5 a game to 7.5 a game. And he already has 7 in this one. 3:58 to go first half. North Carolina State by 6. We'll be back after this from our friends at Budweiser. 6-point North Carolina State lead. 3:58 to go in the half. Billy, at the beginning of the game, you said State would have to shoot better and play better defense. They're doing both.
They really are. I said that that margin, they could not afford to have that margin widen at all, and it's almost reversed. The 54%, 39% at the top of the show, it was almost the other way around. So that's why State is basically in command right now, but only by 6 points. That'd have to scare you a little bit. If you know you're shooting that well, you're only up at 6 at home.
That's right. There you see North Carolina State 54%, North Carolina at only 39, and North Carolina over 52% coming in. 3-point field goals. We told you State loves to shoot them.
Now we're talking about a Carolina team being held at 39% when they're normally shooting the 52, and right now, particularly with the fresh club that they have out on the floor, they ought to pick up that percentage.
And Marshall with his first free throw, 4th point of the night. 5'11" freshman. Nebraska's Mr. Basketball last year. He seems to have settled down a little bit.
Well, with all of the great play in the Big 8 this year, and of course some of the other teams that he had to cross over country to come here, it's kind of interesting. Probably the greatest player State ever recruited from the western part was Ronnie Shavlik. One of the great all-time centers in the ACC came from Denver.
Knox, Thompson sits back down. And Newman in the lineup for State.
People wanted to double dribble, but that was merely a loose ball and a pickup. And there's
Steal by Gugliotta.
Good push up by McCullough.
Gugliotta on the other end. And the rebound to George Lynch.
Good push up by Williams.
Another freshman. Davis off the glass, can't get it.
Now Carolina doing a good job right now, forcing the tempo of this game. Just trying to wear down NC State with both people and style of play.
And here comes some fresh people again. Sullivan and Williams go out. Phelps and Reese back in. At the free throw line, one of the guys we talked about at the top of the game, Hubert Davis.
Davis will get 2.
It's been well documented how many Carolina basketball camps he went to, but still he was kind of a mutt that nobody wanted as a senior in high school, as Gugliotta was, and boy, in 4 years these guys have blossomed into something special.
Well, and even in Davis's case, it took even longer. You know, he didn't start to blossom until mid-season last year, and then made a great run, particularly in the last 8 games of regular season, then the NCAA tournament in which he played so well and has picked up right from there. Here comes a double team by Carolina in the trap.
Let's see how the young backcourt of the Wolfpack handles that. Throws
Not
it
well.
away. Not well. Lynch. And the foul by Davis.
Davis over Gugliotta. Gugliotta says the ball was in the cylinder.
He might have a complaint. At any rate, it's 41-36.
Now we're going to ask him to referee as well as shoot 3-pointers, block shots, grab rebounds, and handle the ball. There's
Great
the backdoor cut.
McCullough.
Oh, not a good play. All he had to do was to lay it up.
There's a freshman mistake. Could be a 4-point swing or worse if Carolina can convert.
Big overplays and double teams out front. Again, Dean Smith really trying to put the tempo up on both ends of the floor. State's extremely tired now.
He approached the 2-minute mark. Montross is fouled inside by Newman. He picks up his second.
Any part of the ball in that cylinder would create offensive basket interference. Let's see if it's there.
Thompson and Davis back in for the Wolfpack.
Looked like that ball was coming down off and not in the cylinder, but down off below the cylinder. Tough call to make, but I'd have to say you'd let it go.
And a great follow by Davis. Here's Montross.
I think he kind of shocked Gugliotta with his ability to get up there.
All right.
And you see a play by Davis to make one work on the fast break, and then McCullough on the one that he let get away by trying to go over the top.
Montross gets his 3rd point, cuts the North Carolina State lead to 4. Davis pulls up from long range and buried the 3.
That's one of those where, as a coach, Les Robinson, I guaranteed you stood up and in his mind, whether said it verbally or not, is saying, no, 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 that a boy.
Gugliotta, another rebound.
And now if you're State, you might want to think about using a little clock here. There's no sense wearing yourself down. You've got the lead. You want to go in at halftime with the lead.
The way they light it up outside that 3-point arc, I don't know if they can slow it down.
Well, you want to give Gugliotta a chance to be rested. Make Carolina chase a little bit. Good job.
Nice move by Seal. Davis fouls him.
That young man's very difficult to guard in the open court because he's got that ability to put that ball between his legs on a dribble, and he does it so low to the ground that you just can't steal it on him. He's got pretty good strength as well.
Rodel will come in. Phelps will sit down. Thompson going out for North Carolina State. And in comes Jamie Knox. Donnie Seal will go to the free throw line for the Wolfpack. He's an interesting story. Committed to North Carolina State a couple of years ago, but as a non-qualifier went on to junior college. Out of Eden, North Carolina. Thompson's had a good game. He's on the bench, getting a rest with 13 points. Seal hits them both. And this is a 9-point NC State lead.
And with 1:22 to go, if you're State, you get the ball back again. You want to take some time off that clock.
Reese. What a collision that was in midair. And Knox will get the foul.
It's called weak side help by Knox.
Weak side collision.
Like he was guarding Fort Knox on that one. But another good play by Reese. I mean, he's made 2 excellent drives, 4 baskets. That could have been the 3rd. Made that good shot from the outside. He's having a very solid first half.
Rodel sits back down and Williams in.
And when you look at this basic starting lineup for Carolina, they've got Davis, of course, with 20, but then Reese and Phelps right there almost at 10 points a game would give them 5 players is their basic starting lineup, all in double figures, which is an excellent balance to have.
He's been the Mets guy off the bench tonight for either team. Salvadori back in. And Montross will sit down with a couple of fouls, not wanting to get that 3rd cheap one in the next 72 seconds. And Reese has 13 points.
It'd be smart to get that ball in Seal's hand some, let him dribble a little bit.
Talking about bench strength, North Carolina's got 20 points off the bench. North Carolina State has none. Davis trying to feed inside, stolen away. Here comes Williams, 3-on-1. Reese to Davis, blocked by Seal. The follow by Reese.
That's the 2nd time that Carolina got a fast break going. Good hustle on their part. But the State guys just couldn't get back, just tired.
Gugliotta a little bit strong. Williams another rebound. And a foul will be on Marshall.
Now, I thought that Williams on that play could have hit Davis on the wing. Davis was filling, was in perfect position to take his jumper. Williams tried to make the difficult play. You see right here, he's coming down. He's got Davis over here in the wing for the easy shot. The shot that Davis, is going to make 60% of the time from 3.
I got a feeling Dean Smith will tell Mr. Williams just what you mentioned.
Well, he's a man that really is a 2 guard that's being asked to play the point position, and some of those decisions in the future, of course, with more experience he'll be able to make, but more than likely he'll be playing where Davis was on the break as opposed to being the guy in the middle.
Williams scoreless so far. Changes that with the free throw.
Again, I'll go back to the point that I think that State ought to get the ball in Seal's hand. He's got the best matchup to be able to take some time off the clock.
Game clock off. That's a shot clock in the corner of your screen. Double team on Knox. Got to get rid of it. Almost threw it away.
Here's Seal out here, but there we go.
Lynch is on Gugliotta, by the way. Because don't you know the Wolfpack's looking for Gugliotta. There he is. Drives and walked with it. That's about the only thing he's done wrong all night.
Well, he again, that time, Brad was trying to draw a foul. And he realized he was in the pack and had nothing to do with it. Just try to draw the foul.
North Carolina State with 9 turnovers. And as always, Carolina handles the ball pretty well. We've got 4.6 seconds left in the half. Let's see what Carolina can do. A steal by Davis. At the buzzer, an air ball on a 3-pointer. And what a first half we've had. Here we go. Second half underway. North Carolina trailing 46-42.
State stays right with their man-to-man. They showed a little zone in the first half, but primarily a man-to-man team. A lot of movement now by Carolina.
Davis for 3. That's the way to start it.
And Seal played good defense on him. He just shot right over him.
Like we said, we didn't think it would take Davis long to be part of the offense, and it didn't. About 20 seconds. Davis outside. Too hard. Seal try to keep it alive, but Salvadori comes up with the ball. Nice pass ahead, and Lynch scores. What a start for North Carolina.
There was a lack of experience by Davis. He was kind of relaxed on that 3-point shot. He's got to come out here and mentally get himself ready to start the second half. And then he did not concentrate going back down court.
And a turnover. 3-on-2 and a traveling violation.
And Gugliotta made that play by his hustle on defense. You saw a situation where Reese thought the passing lane was there, and Gugliotta filled it. So you don't want to throw it to a white shirt and get caught up in the air.
Despite that Carolina turnover, though, the Tar Heels in the first 50 seconds turned a 4-point deficit into a 1-point lead. It's 47-46.
Sure, Les Robinson would like to see something get down inside to Thompson. He's got that shot blocker, Salvadoriani.
Seal.
Thompson set a good screen. Salvadori couldn't come over from the weak side to help out.
First basket of the second half for North Carolina State.
Carolina rubbing people off the high post right now, coming across on what amounts to a screen right at the foul line.
Seal on Davis. Nice spin by Davis. And it's swatted down by Thompson.
Seal got hit in the eye and he can't see right now.
Inside, it'll go on Mark Davis.
That was great rebounding by Salvadori because he was pinned with three fellas, Davis, Gugliotta, and Thompson. And here we're going to see Davis coming in, and Thompson's going to block this maybe a little bit too hard. You notice how he comes down so hard that it gets the ball back over to Carolina. He almost was in a position to catch that ball. That's a playground block as opposed to a block that makes a lot of sense for your team. Block it and keep it in control.
George Lynch, Davis thought about the three-pointer. Here's Salvadori.
Well, what happened is Thompson got caught on a pick. Of course, Marshall, no opportunity whatsoever to do anything with Salvadori inside. There's a switch. Got to be somebody open, and there's Lynch with that explosive ability to steal.
Almost missed the jam, but he got the steal and the basket.
He did that twice against Villanova on Sunday. He really can come out of the box. We talked about Gugliotta's first step being so quick.
Here's Gugliotta. That's the first time he's been able to square up, and he just pointed at himself as if to say, okay, I got it, give it back to me.
That's right. He told Marshall on the way down court, my number is 24. I've got, what, 23 or whatever he has, and he's ready for another big half.
Seventh tie of the ball game. We're even at 51.
Davis becoming much more aggressive, looking for his shot.
Phelps. Rebound comes off to Marshall.
Nice
Thompson.
pass.
Great pass to Seal. Way up in the air. You said he was going to have to come on, Billy.
And we have seen Reese make some great plays in midair on the drive, and that time Seal did one of his own. Really controlled his body nicely. Smart play.
State by 2. Trying to get it into Salvadori. Another steal by Gugliotta.
There's that speed we were talking about. It's a charge.
A nice job by Phelps to get down there and get in front of Gugliotta, who was a runaway train.
Well, he had committed himself as he crossed half court. We could see that in his eyes right here, and now fans can see the same thing. He committed much too early and became very easy to defense on that play.
As soon as you saw those eyebrows come up, you knew he was going to the hole.
Yeah, he was focused. It would have been smart for him to give that ball up at half court and then get it back on the return, and he'd have had an easy layup.
12th turnover, North Carolina State. Sullivan back in.
Montross in there.
They go to Montross.
Got his hand hit.
Lynch picked up the loose ball.
That's a pretty dangerous play to throw it in the direction of the other team's basket. Got by with one there.
Lynch around a pick. Cross courts it to Sullivan. He tried to get it inside, and Phelps picked it up before he's fouled.
I think Davis got a piece of that one, and if you're Les Robinson, you hope they call on Davis. You don't want a cheap foul picked up on Thompson.
It is on Davis, his second, 13th foul.
Carolina was a little bit lucky on that play because it was never intended to reach Phelps.
Phelps, 6 points. Came on a couple of three-pointers. North Carolina as a team right about 70% from the free throw line. Tonight they've missed a few though.
Phelps normally at 75%, so pretty solid.
Got the second one, and that cuts the North Carolina State
lead to a single point with 15:58 to go in the ball game. We'll be back after this from Budweiser. Brad Nessler and Billy Packer from Raleigh, where the Wolfpack at home leads by 1, trying to go up by a couple more, but Davis can't get that one, and Gugliotta goes down hard.
It wasn't an intentional undercut. They're just bodies clashing there pretty hard. Gugliotta goes down. Realize he's going to hit.
Ouch.
Yeah, that has to hurt.
He's checking to make sure everything's in the right place.
You know, we've talked about all his skill levels improving over this 4 years, but how about his body as well?
Kidding. Got some guns on him.
Yep.
He's gone from 205 to about 230, 235, somewhere in there.
And there's Carolina in that 2-3 zone.
Well, he's got the right arm working. 26.
Did he come down on the left? I guess it didn't make that difference. Yeah, it was the left arm that he hit on.
26 for Tom Gugliotta. He had 28 last year in the first game against Carolina here.
It was kind of overshadowed by Monroe's 37.
That's right. Montross, nice move inside. Eric Montross has 5.
I don't think there have been many games when a guy got 28 points against North Carolina and people said, well, you didn't do much. The fellow got 37.
Of course, that fire and ice magic of Corciani and Monroe is no more, and Gugliotta carries a much heavier load. McCauley can't connect the 3. Nice job by Thompson to keep that alive.
You know, Thompson is not only playing hard, but he is really playing smart basketball tonight.
McCauley's going to try it again, same result.
Well, there was Sullivan got away by holding McCauley, preventing him from getting his own rebound.
Phelps brings it down. Carolina with a chance to tie. Sullivan charges. That's his 3rd foul.
Sullivan has to be satisfied with the shot that he gets right here. Got to put this right up on the basket. He goes right into Davis. Davis does a good job moving his feet. No question about the charge.
14:30 to go in the ball game. North Carolina State with a 2-point lead. Gugliotta baseline.
He stepped out and Montross just couldn't get there in time.
Well, he's got 28 again. Well, we got a long way to go.
He's given Montross an education on the ability to step out and take the jumper.
He's looking at a 40-point night the way he's playing.
There's a good back screen for Lynch, who's open on the inside.
Davis looks for a jumper and got it, and he's fouled.
Well, we talked about both of these fellas at the top of the show. They're showing us why now.
Davis with 5 this half.
And we talked about the clash of bodies and how they match up so nicely on a physical basis. You see Thompson and Montross letting everybody get hit a little bit inside.
Hubert Davis will go to the free throw line, where he is 4 of 6 tonight. And that's under his average. 3rd best free throw shooter in the ACC coming into this one. Completes a 3-point play. 58-57 North Carolina State. McCauley's going to keep trying until he gets it right.
I admire him for that. Took 2 that had no chance. Stays with that shot. That's what Les Robinson needs. His team's going to win this game. Somebody has got to help Gugliotta and Thompson out with some scoring.
10 3-pointers for the Wolfpack tonight so far. Nice feed in low, and Lynch has an easy one off the pass from Phelps.
Got 2 good solid screens that he came off. One at the foul line, and then one a little bit foul line, a little bit below the foul line.
5th assist on the night for Phelps. McCullough.
Well, there was a little bit of freshman mistake in the fact that he could have been 2 steps closer in and still been beyond the 3-point line.
And Reese buries one on the other end.
Gives him 18, doesn't it?
Yep. And North Carolina State edges, North Carolina edges back in front, 62-61.
Steele does a pretty good job recognizing the traps and staying out of trouble. Get out of that zone, go back to their man-to-man.
Take it right there. Got it.
George Lynch says, what do we do with this guy? I mean, he was afraid to go challenge him right away. He's afraid he's going by him. This is one of the great shows we've seen in a while.
You're not kidding.
Inside is Lynch, and he got it off the glass.
I think that's a pretty smart move. Occupy a great score by trying to make him play some defense. He's got to wear down a little bit if he's playing both ends of the floor.
Here he is, momentarily alone, works around Lynch, and off the glass he's fouled.
Great glide-in shot. We saw Montross coming from the weak side and just glided by him.
Montross picks up his third foul.
But he is getting tired.
Look at the numbers for North Carolina State.
And you know, it's not that they don't have an inside game. Thompson showed us some real good play on the inside early on.
Lynch sits down. Sullivan's going to check back in for North Carolina.
I still think fatigue is going to be a real problem for NC State as this game wears down. Gugliotta, as you can see him bend over there just trying to get his breath. He's having to work both ends of the floor. Carolina will be wise to go right at him.
If he holds those shorts any lower, he's going to pull them off. That's a sure sign for players. They start grabbing those shorts down at the bottom, and that was maybe a sign too a little bit as he misses the free throw. But he has 31 points. His career high, as you just saw a moment ago, is 35.
We saw Oliver Miller from Arkansas this year lose him one time, so it is possible.
Gugliotta perfect from the field this half, but 0 for 2 from the free throw line.
And Les Robinson wisely goes to the zone to try to save his players a little bit. And that's a big foul that helps him out, just to get a rest.
Salvadori working for rebounding position over the back. Picks up his second.
Good block out here. Thompson has inside position, puts a body on Salvadori, and that's what created the foul situation. You know, you wonder when Les Robinson's going to go back to substituting Thompson and Gugliotta, giving both of them a blow, and I think they're going to need one in the next couple of minutes.
Yeah, worked in the first half for him.
Yep.
We've got a timeout with 11:56 to go, and we've got our 8th tie of the ball game at 64. We'll be back after this from our friends at Pepsi. Brad Nessler and Billy Packer with you at Reynolds Coliseum, Raleigh, North Carolina. The 177th meeting between the Wolfpack and the Tar Heels. And what a show this young man's put on for us. 31 points. We're deadlocked at 64. Which happens to be what North Carolina's shooting this half.
Now it's Reese on Gugliotta, trying to get some quickness right out in his face. Maybe hoping that if he gets by, Salvadori's back there for the block.
They've tried about everybody. Salvadori fronting Thompson, knocks it out of bounds.
You know, it's kind of hard. Salvadori is got good quick feet, and it's hard to keep him from getting over the top as he did right there. There's Reese using that quickness.
And will be North Carolina State ball.
Not a lot of room to operate over there. Buzz Peterson now working for Les Robinson, having played for Dean Smith of Carolina, made the play, and then you go down to the other bench. Dave Hanners, who worked for Les at East Tennessee, is now working for Dean Smith. So Carolina feeling on both benches here.
Remember Buzz Peterson this time last year really struggling with wearing a red sport coat to a game against North Carolina, and he did it.
He's in the browns tonight.
Yeah,
browns
he's definitely in the more normal color. McCauley misses way outside. Gugliotta, another rebound.
How about that quickness? He was going actually in to get that rebound, change direction, beat his man in the corner. They're on the out-of-bounds situation. Carolina now playing a box and one on Gugliotta. You don't see Dean Smith do this very often.
It's quite an honor.
Yep. And Phelps is on him. Now, is it going to be McCullough, McCauley, or Seal?
McCauley's alone. Got it.
Excellent play. Seal made that by recognizing the defense. Oh, Gugliotta again. Watch out for the block here.
Seal got the score, and he's fouled.
And that was against Salvadori. Seal for the second time tonight, taking the ball to the hoop perfectly.
Got great body control, as you mentioned about an hour ago, Billy.
And how about Gugliotta again? He's the fellow that started all this. He just wouldn't give Salvadori a chance to get over there and didn't use his left hand too much to knock him out of the way for the offensive charge.
Seal will get one shot.
But it's a great
will come in.
Great ebb and flow to this game here in the second half.
Had 9 lead changes. Salvadori sits down. That's his 4th. At the line, Donnie Seal. 5 points this half, 7 for the game. He's picked up some of the NC State slack.
Now, little banging inside, could be a double. Let's see, Thompson and Montross. Let's see what he's going to call.
Double foul.
Double, okay. And you looked at the way the arrow was pointed, so it'll be State's ball on the end line. I think that would be between Montross and Thompson. Double foul on the 2 of them inside.
If so, it's number 3 and number 4 respectively. 4 on Montross, 3 on Thompson.
Now think about that. Salvadori with 4 and Montross with 4. It means Wenstrom's going to have to play a little bit more. McCullough going in there.
Gives it to Thompson, back out. A 3-pointer. Gugliotta on fire. He's got 34.
Now I'm going to give him credit for making the shot, but Thompson for not only the great catch with his hands, but the smart play to get the ball back outside. State goes zone.
8 threes for Tom Gugliotta. What a show. State matches its biggest lead. Reese foul on the baseline by McCauley.
Reese has been a savior for North Carolina tonight. Not only hit from the outside, he's played pretty solid defense, and that's the 4th time tonight he's made a good drive to the basket.
He's doubled his scoring average with 18 points, averaging only 9 per game, and has a career high on the night, and set to add to it from the free throw line. Brian Reese, 6'6" sophomore out of the Bronx. That stops a 9-0 North Carolina State run.
Well, Rodney Monroe holds the record here at NC State for 3-point shooting, and you would expect that. He has 9 in the game. So Gugliotta's coming awful close.
I got a feeling he'll at least attempt one more.
Well, this kid is clever with the ball.
McCauley kicks it out. Here's that one more. Front of the iron this time. Last touched by North Carolina. I think it came off Montross.
You see, North Carolina seems to be a little bit rattled at this point right now, and it's primarily because they haven't figured out a way to handle Gugliotta yet. They're playing a man-to-man now, and Gugliotta twisted his ankle, stepped on Lynch. He's running it off right now. You can see that hurt.
He was heading one way. The pass was going the other direction, and
the best thing you can do is just to run that baby off. Don't let it get tight. Let's see if Carolina recognizes it and goes inside. You can see him. He's trying to keep it loose.
Reese.
Not a good shot. Didn't have possession of that ball. Good hands by Montross, but he steps out of bounds. Watch what happens right here. Coming across, he turns his back, and see just twisted by stepping on Lynch's foot.
And he's going to come out.
Yep.
The trainers will have a look. We got a timeout with 9:23 to go, and North Carolina State leads 73-66. We'll be back after this from our friends at Bud Light. There's Tom Gugliotta on the bench as he twisted his ankle. You're going to see again on this replay.
Just an accidental twist, but it really came down on Lynch's foot. I think back in 1983 when Derek Wittenberg broke his foot after that sensational 27-point first half he had against Virginia. And everybody remember that NC State had real problems the rest of the way in the season until he came back. And then, of course, went to that magical journey for the national championship.
Salvadori high off the glass. Well, we'll find out in the next couple of minutes how much trouble North Carolina State will be in without Gugliotta, but Les Robinson's already got him up over there.
And he's ready to go back. He just laced up those sneakers.
Seal trying to calm things down a little bit for the Wolfpack. They lead 73-68. We're under 9 minutes to play. Thompson against Salvadori. Doesn't get the roll.
But McCauley tripped Phelps on the way out of bounds and got away with it.
Tom Gugliotta will check back in.
And that's not a boo, that's Goog.
So Bacali, who had the fine play, will inbound on the baseline.
Oh, you thought the trip was a fine play? Come on.
Got the ball back. See how long it takes before Gugliotta handles it.
What did we say, 52-47 or fight? Well, it wasn't exactly a fight, but
Marshall some penetration and leaves it for Thompson. He didn't go to the basket or even look that time.
yeah, you know, and that was smart because had he gone to the basket, which would be a normal instinct, that ball would have thrown right off the back of his head. He's a smart player.
Salvadori playing with 4 fouls, working tough defensively in there.
I think it's wise for State to just be a little patient here and make North Carolina do all the work.
8 on the shot clock. Somebody will have to take one. Marshall trying to hook pass, got it back, got it over Salvadori, and it went in.
Can you believe that at the 1-second mark? Because as you know, even though he shot that ball, it was blocked, so the shot clock kept going. And at 1 second, he delivered it. Here we see Marshall. We talked about Marshall, McCullough, or Seal having to step up. See that? The shot clock is still on here. And he gets it off. That's 5 on Salvadori, who has had a fine game, not only from the standpoint of his defensive production, but you can see there 11 points. Solid game. And he's going to sit. And Montross comes in and he has 4.
76-68, North Carolina State.
As Marshall has already stepped up. 9 points, only 2 turnovers against Duke, and of course played extremely well against Clemson.
Davis, that's a way to keep your team in the game. And he'll be heard from again before it's over. His second 3-pointer of the half and 15 on the game.
And here you have Gugliotta, who hasn't played the role of the passer much in this game because he's been doing so much scoring. But I really think he's a guy that can get that ball to Thompson on the inside.
His cross-court pass to Bacali. Sullivan's on Gugliotta now. Dean Smith's the only guy that hasn't guarded him tonight. Davis.
Nice follow through. Utica, Mississippi comes alive again. He's not afraid to take that 3, and we talked at the top of the show. Shooting right at 45% from out there.
All his scoring from three-point land tonight. 3 3-pointers for his 9 on the evening. Sullivan picks up a loose ball underneath, and that's his first basket.
Now it's going to be Sullivan on Gugliotta. Dean Smith has tried everybody except the trainer tonight on him. In addition to playing a box and 1, he's tried some zone. There was the pass I was talking about.
Well, they double-teamed Gugliotta, and he got it to Thompson.
I thought he's the guy that could get it there. Beautiful pass. And great catch again by Thompson.
8-point North Carolina State lead. Davis way outside.
Not a good shot. Montross almost pushed off on that one.
Phelps, he can't get it. And Thompson with a rebound.
Now, at the 6-minute mark, you hate to do this, but if I'm Les Robinson, I got to be thinking about letting Thompson sit for a minute or 2, just to get himself strong enough to go down the wire here.
Brian Fagans out with a knee injury, just stood up and pointed at both sides of his temples as if to say, let's be smart now, guys.
Davis!
Well, you take that one. I guess that's smart enough. It went in. Davis rattled one home. It's a 10-point North Carolina State lead, largest of the night.
And they stay in their 2-1-2 zone, 2-3, a little matchup here. That's more than Lynch wants for a shot. He doesn't want to shoot that far out.
Sullivan kicks it out. Phelps will try a 3.
Why is Carolina taking the outside shot like this? I don't understand it. Marshall grabs Sullivan. And they've kind of gotten, we noticed this maybe a couple minutes ago. I said, you know, they're kind of out of sync here. And they're staying that way right now.
Sullivan at the free throw line. Calmly puts in the first one. Let's see if Thompson's the guy that comes out.
No, it doesn't look like it. He's going for Bacali. You know, sometimes as a coach, you can convince a guy he isn't tired by just ignoring him and saying, hey, fella, you can sleep tonight.
It's worked with Thompson and Gugliotta for the most part tonight, although they spelled each other in the first half. Sullivan's second free throw in and out, and Thompson a rebound. 9 rebounds on the night tonight for Kevin Thompson.
No, let's see. Now, North Carolina going to trap a lot, but let's see if North Carolina, the offensive end, gets back to their offense instead of taking those just three-point shots.
Still plenty of time left in the game, over 5 minutes.
State using a little clock. And here's where you feel a lot more comfortable when Seal has the ball than anybody else.
And a foul inside, I think, on Lynch.
Certainly a foul away from the ball. He's trying to keep Thompson from getting good position, but not a very wise foul.
First on George tonight. Montross set to come back in for North Carolina.
10th team foul, so he's shooting 2 here.
Kevin Thompson. Boy, if it wasn't for the night that Gugliotta's had, you'd have to look at Thompson and say, how about his performance? 15 points on the night and 3 for 3 from the line so far.
And you can see that stat when you're 3 for 3 and a man's a 59% shooter, sooner or later it catches up to him.
Kevin Thompson, 6'10" junior, got the second one. 16 points on the night.
I think this is a key possession for North Carolina as to how they attack the defense. Do they get back into their offense? No, they're just taking wild shots. Not the answer.
Davis may have gotten fouled after the follow-through on that one, but nonetheless, it goes up and over, and it's back to North Carolina State. Matt Wenstrom's going to check in.
Well, Brad, I haven't seen with this much time on the clock, Carolina actually started the 6-minute mark to take shots like that. That's not their game. Now they're going to try to bring it back with defense. Double teaming, stealing some balls.
Almost got the steal. They're going to call a foul on Phelps. And that's for Phelps.
Now, I would expect we'll see Rodel in the game here before too long as well, because if they're going to try to run those double team and traps, Rodel with his size causes problems for a smaller man like Marshall.
Rodel hasn't played that much tonight.
And you can see what's happening here also. He's trying to use Wenstrom on the defensive end and Montross on the offensive end.
Because Montross has 4 personal fouls and Salvadori's already gone, having fouled out. Sullivan back in. George Lynch will get a breather.
Curtis Marshall will get 2.
At the free throw line is Curtis Marshall for a couple. 72% free throw shooter coming in. He's perfect tonight from the line, 4 for 4.
Well, this young man, of course, made 7 or 8 fouls in the clutch against Clemson. So he's been there before in an ACC game.
An 11-point NC State lead.
But still a lot of time, 4:33 to go. But they're going to stick with that outside shooting.
They've missed about 6 three-pointers in a row.
I am really surprised to see them go strictly to this type of offensive attack.
It's going to reach a stage where they have to use that tactic. 4:26 left, but I mean, they started this with about just under 7 minutes to go.
Correct. I mean, you know, down at the 2-minute mark, you can see it, you know, aggressively trying to get double teams and taking the 3, but not at 6 or 4.
Davis can't find it. Rebound off to Davis of North Carolina State.
And NC State wanting to use some clock here. I think they can get Gugliotta on a backdoor cut because he's going to get a lot of overplay by Sullivan. He ought to come out on the wing and look for a backdoor cut.
On the shot clock.
Well, Marshall did a good job when he ran out of time last time. Let's see if he can do it again. Pushes off.
This time he turns it over. 3 minutes and 32 seconds left in this one. Les Robinson's Wolfpack leading North Carolina's Tar Heels by 11. With Billy Packer, I'm Brad Nessler. Reynolds Coliseum in Raleigh is rocking. The Wolfpack leading North Carolina by 11 with 3:32 to go. North Carolina's got Davis, Reese, Montross, Williams, and Sullivan out there. North Carolina State will counter with McCullough, Seal, Davis, Thompson, and Gugliotta.
McCullough in, Marshall down. That should mean that Seal handles that ball a little more.
There's a three-pointer for North Carolina to immediate timeout. So Donald Williams comes in, rattles one home, and cuts the lead to 8. And D. Smith immediately takes a timeout.
Well, the basically Raleigh native hits one. Key shot.
85-77 NC State. We'll be back after this word from the Atlantic Coast Conference. Take a look at some of the shooting numbers over the course of the last few minutes.
Dean Smith, of course, not happy with what he's been doing in the shooting at 3 for 12.
I'd wager to say all 9 of those misses were from three-point range.
I would say so too, and you know, we've beaten it to death, but I was surprised they started from the outside so long ago. See if Donald Williams comes back. He comes out of the game on the defensive end, but I'm anxious to see if he comes back in when they go on the offensive end of the floor.
Our producer Peter Lasser tells us 7 of those missed field goals were indeed three-point attempts.
Gugliotta has basically had a little rest here.
Just enough to go in and pass off to Thompson.
Gugliotta ends up in the camera section. A foul, and Thompson scores.
You know, did you notice how he exploded to the basket, as did Thompson? They have had, because of the way that Carolina is playing, and here you see the official down. I think he hurt himself a little bit. He collided with Gugliotta after the pass.
Lenny Wirtz holding his right wrist. He knows he's getting a little on-camera time here with his wrist injury.
We're going to see Gugliotta break into the basket with that quick step. Now, there are the great hands of Thompson again. And watch how he powers to the basket. Over Lynch, who's a pretty strong fella himself. Thompson with a chance for 3 here.
Thompson last year about 8.5 points, 7.7 rebounds, and what a great improvement he has been. As he's got 18 points on the night. You see what he's done from the free throw line.
4 out of 5. A 59% free throw shooter, not bad.
Another 11-point lead for the Wolfpack. Down to the final 3 minutes.
Good pump fake by Reese.
Reese has played brilliantly tonight.
Boy, I like the way he drives to that basket. Takes that long step, and there was Lynch over the back of Gugliotta. Good scratch on the arm.
Gugliotta has gone almost 10 minutes without scoring.
Well, I think he'll take that and keep this lead where it is.
You know it. Montross will check back in.
You know, he's a very unselfish player for a guy putting up the stats that he has. I mean, he's not trying to take over the game at all, except when was absolutely necessary, and taking quality shots, quality passes. He hasn't forced anything.
Over the course of that last 8 minutes or so, he's had 2 or 3 assists. And he's a little bit tired now, I think. No doubt about that. He's missed 3 free throws in a row, 34 points so far tonight. This would match his career high if he hits it. And he can't find it. Davis way up there for the rebound.
And no block out. Gugliotta tried to overcompensate. Came up short the first time, then threw up one that was destined to be long.
Don't let him shoot from the field, though, because it'll go.
Thompson out here handling the basketball.
Williams with a foul on McCullough.
Now, if you're Carolina, you're going to say, let's see what the freshman can do under pressure. McCullough so far 70% free throw shooter, and has gone to the line 30 times. So, you know, he's been there before, but not under this kind of pressure.
Sullivan has seen a lot of minutes tonight. Comes back in. Reese will sit down. 2:38 to play in the ball game.
And now you're at that point in time where North Carolina has to be thinking 3 the rest of the way.
Right through. First point of the night for McCullough. Puts State back in front by 10. And now 11.
Those were solid. Now look at Les Robinson. He loved it. Les played 2 years here at State. And then what would have been his 3rd year of eligibility, he worked as an assistant coach.
Nice drive by Sullivan, but he missed in close, and Gugliotta's got another rebound, and then he's fouled.
Strong rebound in between Sullivan, Montross, and Lynch, and still pulled it off with 2 hands.
Gugliotta Gugliotta's just passed Chucky Brown into State's number 15 spot in career rebounds, 8 on the night. And here's the 8. Standing ovation for not only Gugliotta, but this whole Wolfpack team.
Look at that strength there in the rebound. It's well known that his father was his high school coach, his dad Frank, who passed away. You imagine how proud he'd be of this young man tonight.
His dad coached 40 years, 32 of them at Walt Whitman High School in New York. And his son has got a 35-point night, ties a career high. This could be a new career high, and it is.
Shows no emotion out there, just plays hard.
Williams drives, scored it, and he's fouled.
Now that's the one thing you don't want to do if you're NC State. Let the guy have the basket. Don't put him on the line. Keep that clock moving.
All 5 of Williams' points in this half have come the last couple of trips, 2 of the last 3 trips down court for North Carolina.
Well, the McDonald's High School All-American shows he is a scorer. I mean, he was a great scorer in high school. I mentioned Sunday and watching him play, he's got those legs that, you know, are going to make him a powerful player throughout his career here. All he needs is playing time, a little more experience. He'll be a factor before he gets out of North Carolina.
Trying to cut North Carolina State's lead back to 10, and he does as he completes a 3-point play. Phelps immediately checks in for him with 2:18 to go. It's 92-82. When North Carolina State scored 90 or more this year, they haven't lost. 4-0. Trying to make it 5-0 here at home.
Good hit ahead. Oh, they call it intentional. That is a huge play for North Carolina. For North Carolina State, rather.
And a foul on Brian Reese.
I mean, that not only puts you on the line for 2, but you get the ball back.
Here's another look, Billy.
Well, you know what he did? Without question, it wasn't even a hard call. He just grabbed his arm.
Now, Brian Reese has had quite a night, but made the mistake there. And Seal at the free throw line. Can start to seal this game away if he hits one of these. 92-82, still 2:10 to go, though.
Well, Brad, you know, if you're going to get in a position where you want to go ahead and foul, you know that's what's been the dictum of the coach. You have got to go and try to strip the ball. You know, just get over there and, you know, you may steal it sometimes, you may commit the foul, but you cannot afford to go for the 2. The deliberate.
Double team on Seal.
Oh, wow, that could have been a technical there.
And
wow.
The foul will be on Lynch.
Foul on George Lynch, number 34.
I guarantee you Les Robinson's going to tell, as he is telling Seal right now, we don't need any of that.
Seal was fouled about 17 feet from the hoop.
That's right.
Sullivan and Williams back in. Wenstrom and Montross will, Wenstrom and Phelps rather will sit.
Now here's where if you're North Carolina, you really have to block out the second free throw, because remember when Davis made that good rebound on the missed free throw. For North Carolina trying to come back, you have got to get possession.
Seal got the second. He's had a good second half. 7 points this half, 9 for the game. McCullough checks back in for the Wolfpack. We approach the 2-minute mark.
Thompson finally gets a rest. State goes to man for man with Thompson out of there.
Williams, he's been the offense the last couple of minutes. Doesn't get that one. Gugliotta battling for the rebound. Did he come up with it? He did, but he stepped on the line.
Did the right thing there. You see on the ground, he was throwing it in the direction of his basket. And so even if Carolina does make the interception, they are not under their own basket for the score.
Way outside. Reese can't get it. And the rebound is Seal.
And that
foul by Williams.
That could have been delivered as well. I mean, he's chasing him from the back and grabbing his shirt.
Les Robinson wants his whole team over there for a minute. Well, he got 4 of them.
You're right. He got all but Gugliotta, and Gugliotta probably by osmosis could tell what he wanted to do. You know, with the win by Clemson over Virginia tonight, And this coming down to the way it looks like State's going to win, I mean, it really becomes jumbled. Wake Forest beating Georgia Tech over the weekend.
There's going to be a big knot for the #2 spot with, of course, Duke on top of the pack. Now every point not only has this crowd on its feet, but they're also thinking the century mark with 1:44 to go. It's 95-82.
You think back in the days when the ACC tournament used to be played here at NC State, where they always had good teams under Everett Case. People used to say, well, it's not a home court advantage. Could you imagine trying to get that to sell today? There's Fagans. You don't want to hurt him sitting on the sideline.
Talking about where everybody stands in the conference. Tomorrow night in Atlanta, there'll be a big one. Florida State at Georgia Tech.
Florida State with 2 road wins so far. Well, it's hard to play with 6 men out there. Maybe Dean Smith is going to try one defense he hasn't used tonight with just 2 men on Gugliotta.
And a timeout called by Davis as he can't get the pass in. With 1:42 left, North Carolina State with a 13-point lead. Wolfpack heading for 100 and heading for win #9. 12,000 plus loving it tonight on the home floor. North Carolina State with a 13-point lead over North Carolina with 1:42 left.
Now, Brad, to put this somewhat in perspective, and we had Norm Sloan honored here at halftime tonight, former great coach from NC State. David Thompson had 32 games in his career, 30 plus.
Wow.
And we're seeing, I mean, think about that.
It just seems that that age is so far gone for the most part, and it's fun to watch somebody put on the kind of show that Gugliotta has put on tonight with a career high 36. There's Norm Sloan.
He's enjoying this. A player at NC State, of course, a great coach here. Led them to the national championship and one of the real storied national championship. You know, something that started that year were the workouts that were attended by throngs of people when NC State went to Greensboro before that game with UCLA. And now, of course, the Final Four, that workout day is attended by 10, 15, 20,000 people.
Reese picks up the foul. His third.
Number 31, Brian Reese, his third.
And it'll send Curtis Marshall to the free throw line.
Not that North Carolina could have won this ball game, but I imagine when they go back and look at the film of this game, they'll see the same thing that we did at about that 7-minute mark, when all of a sudden they got away from their offense and almost played as if they were in a do-or-die situation, and they really had a lot of time to go, particularly with the fact that Thompson and Gugliotta had to be worn down a little bit at that stretch. Never went inside, never put themselves on the foul line.
Marshall's missed back-to-back free throws. Well, he got the second. He got 10 points. Williams sealed the rebound.
There's that low dribble of his. Very difficult to take the ball away from him on the dribble.
And then kicks it back out on top to Davis. He's double teamed. He's fouled by Williams.
Les Robinson's beside himself over there on the sidelines. He's going to go get a drink now. I guess that's his cigar. You know, here comes his red Arbach cigar is the drink of water.
Tell you what, you couldn't wipe the smile off his face the last 3 minutes or so. He's one excited guy. His face is almost the same color as his sweater. Just a little bit excited.
Well, you know, he built an outstanding program up at East Tennessee State.
Yep.
And that program's still very solid. It's not like he left it in the dire straits.
Remember, he beat North Carolina in his first attempt last year, but also they had some different folks like Corciani and Monroe. Tonight it's been Gugliotta and Thompson, the guys that have picked up that slack and become an inside team, although you can't consider Gugliotta an inside guy with, what's he got, 8 3-pointers tonight.
Well, one away from the all-time state record of 9 by Rodney Monroe.
There's only 3 off the ACC mark. That's Dennis Scott's. I don't think we'll see too many more 3-pointers tonight. But what we are about to see is North Carolina State upsetting the number 10 team in the land. Wenstrom wheels, hook shot, good one.
Dean Smith wanted a timeout, couldn't get it called.
We are down to 1 minute left in Raleigh.
You notice they're not fouling, and they did go inside in the last play, but a little bit too late for that strategy.
Call me greedy, but I like to see Gugliotta shoot
Take
one
a
more
three.
time.
Yeah, let him take a three.
Seal on a nice drive.
That young man is going to be a factor.
You said he'd have to be in this half, and boy, has he ever contributed 10 of his 12 points this half. And they'll give that one, I think, to Wenstrom, although it almost came off a state player. We're under 30 seconds.
They want Gugliotta to take another three. And not being a selfish player, he gives it up.
And it comes off Davis's foot, and it'll go to North Carolina. He may not touch it again. North Carolina State's never scored 100 points against North Carolina. I wonder who our player of the game will be for North Carolina State. Well, he's going out. And what a night he's had. Tonight's Nations Bank pick players of the game for North Carolina State, Tom Gugliotta, a career-high 36 points. And Brian Reese of North Carolina with 22 on the evening. Our congratulations to those two young fellas.
Oh, good block. McCullough blocking Cherry's layup. Dean Smith can't believe it. What's he going to call that? Goaltended?
Again, State's never gone over 100, and they aren't going to get a chance, it doesn't appear. Sullivan leaves it for Roto. Fans want one more field goal attempt. I don't think we'll see one. McCauley does the wise thing, just holds on. Tom Gugliotta for North Carolina State, a brilliant performance, almost a double-double, but 36 points and 9 rebounds. Brian Reese, 22 and 3, our Nations Bank's players of the game tonight. A big upset for North Carolina State. They take care of number 10 North Carolina. Final score, North Carolina State 99, North Carolina 88. That's going to wrap it up from Reynolds Coliseum in Raleigh. For Billy Packer, I'm Brad Nessler. You've been watching exclusive coverage of ACC basketball on the Raycom and Jefferson Pilot Sports Network.